Ready?
I am
Cool.
always, when I was about 8, 9, or 10, I became a Boy Scout. Shortly after I became a Boy Scout, the Queen came to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I don't know if you know how things are in St. Vincent. When rain is set up in the mountain, your first move is to run.
Yeah.
So here I was standing in the park at attention with all my fellow scouts for St. Vincent statehood, and then rain started. And they ran and brought an umbrella for their queen. And at age 10, I couldn't understand why they were bringing an umbrella for the queen. And when I ran off, the policeman said, "Get your ass back in line." Since then, I was kind of always ready. In fact, one of the mottos of being a scout is to be always ready.
I love the principle. Yeah, and I love the way we just organically started this into, because I said, are you ready? You said you're ready. And I think that's a great introduction to you. I'm with a man who I've known all about before I even met because of his impact on St. Vincent and the UK. This is Bilal. Am I pronouncing your name well?
I'm pronouncing it right. Bilal O.W. Jacquemine.
Okay.
The
And
W stands for Othniel, the W stands for Wendell. Jack was my father's name, and Ameen is my adopted name.
I knew about the Ameen because obviously your son is my friend, Mikkel, but also your son, Amel. When I first met him, I said, "Oh, you're Emil Ameen." He said, "My name's Amel."
He's very proud of that name. You know, it's funny, someone asked me before why, apart from the fact that Amel is a very spiritual name.
What does it mean?
It means son of God.
Choice.
Apart from that, Amel, A-M-L, I didn't want him to go through the pain that I had in spelling Othniel when I was a kid.
Othniel.
I shortened the name, A-M-L, and he loves it.
I want to just ask, what part of St. Vincent are you from?
I am from the part of St. Vincent they refer to as the Valley of Green Gold.
Okay.
It was noted when I was growing up in St. Vincent that Mesopotamia was one of the most fertile lands in St. Vincent. They used to call it the breadbasket of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. My brother wrote a song called Pittainie Valley. Mesopotamia was shortened by our ancestors, and they used to call it Pittainie Valley. When I was in high school, my brother wrote this song, and we sang it as a folk song and won island competition with it.
Yeah. Can I hear it again?
Hey boy, where you come from? Me come from Pittainie Valley. Hey girl, where you come from? Me come from Pittainie Valley. Me come from Pittainie Valley. Me not afraid to tell nobody. Lakatang and breadfruit special. We the people have to eat local. It's a whole vibe, and in fact, it's a song that is well known now.
Everyone started singing it when you sang it
Yeah,
earlier.
it's well known now in St. Vincent. And one of the things that they're doing is that they sing it in different areas and call the different areas name.
Oh, they shout
Like
their own area.
Sandy Bay. Yeah, and so. But a lot of the young people are singing it now. Perhaps they don't know the origin. That's one of the things that I feel that is lost in St. Vincent.
Yes, origin.
History,
Yes.
but also where it is important to have, for instance, all of the carnival they had in St. Vincent, all the beautiful mass bands over the years. There is no place in St. Vincent you can go to as a museum and see that. Not that I know of, not unless something has started recently. And that is something, because that in itself is a tour, right? It's all well and good building hotels and so forth, but St. Vincent will never be a Barbados, because tourism, the sort of tourism that is promoting it, for instance, Barbados, is about sand, sea, and beach. And even though we have that, we have something else that is even more beautiful. We have all the mountain terrain, people climbing. I went up there twice, took groups from the UK to climb the vault. Years ago, I was fed up with what's going on in the black community in the UK. So I decided to start an organization that focused primarily on youth development. But I also wanted to develop activities based on what you're naturally gifted to do. So it's called the Africa Caribbean Development Foundation. Initially, it was called the Caribbean Development Foundation. And as we branch out and start doing youth exchange program, which we became specialized in, to Africa, the Caribbean, and then we did a lot of European exchange program. We did almost 20 youth exchange program to Holland, Italy, France, Germany. The last one we did was in 2018 with Germany. Then shortly after that, you know what happened, Brexit, everything. Well, not even so much COVID, but they had Brexit.
Oh, the Brexit.
And it turned everything on its head, really. Now they're talking about rejoining that aspect of the program through Erasmus.
Okay.
So we might be running some more programs as well. We even have a documentary on 25 years of youth exchange program.
Okay, that's amazing.
I could send it to you guys so that
that'd be really good.
you can look at it to see what it involves and so on. Yeah.
I know. So the sort of people we have at this event, guys, it's not a regular audience. This is amazing people who are Vincentian, who are making impact, not just in St. Vincent, but also in the diaspora and in the lives of others, specifically youth. And I know earlier we spoke about youth inside as well. So I'm guessing that one of your main motivations for coming here was to see what the opportunities are. What have you got out of being here today?
Well, to be honest, my spirit is kind of revived physical because for the last 20 years, I've been sleeping, as I said in my introduction there. Not sleeping where St. Vincent is concerned because over the years, St. Vincent hurt my feelings. You know, because when you love something, you know, it's like your mother or father. When somebody disturb your mother or father, they disturb you. So for me, St. Vincent, in a way, things was disturbed. Some of the people who benefited from our programs never followed through and they were in position of authority to maintain. And what seems to happen sometimes is that people change things just for the sake of change rather than use whatever has been good before and see how you can build on that.
Don't fix what's not broken.
Precisely. If it's not broke, why? Yeah. So I think we have not done any programs. We have done so many youth programs with St. Vincent and Grenadines. I met someone here early on who said he was at a youth symposium that we orchestrated along with my brother, who was the youth officer for St. Vincent and Grenadines at the time, orchestrated in Richmond Vale. And that was over 25 odd years ago that happened. So for me coming here and hearing some of the things about investment in St. Vincent, and I've done investment in St. Vincent. I owned a guest house out Argyle called Pittainie Resort just before the airport come into existence. In fact, it was as a result of the airport that place had to go. At the time, I brought in bands because of my musical ability and experience. I brought in bands like Morgan Heritage. I brought in bands like groups like individuals like Eric Donaldson, Mighty Sparrow and all that. And those things were the first time they were happening outside of Kingston. At the Eric Donaldson concert, we had over 4,000 people in Argyle. So that has since disappeared because of the airport.
What sectors exciting you the most from today with your thinking from this event?
Well, to set up a business in St. Vincent, you have to build trust. And my advice to anyone who wants to do business in St. Vincent, don't set up a business then come back and think you're going to live in England and have a business in St. Vincent. It doesn't work that way. You got to be there to nurture it, to develop it. Because it doesn't matter who you put there, whether or not it's family, friends, or foe. Things are going to go pear. You got to be there. But notwithstanding, people should really invest if they have an opportunity to do so. People should invest if they have an idea, not just about making money, but about developing the youths that are there. Because one of the things that happen in St. Vincent now, the crime that is in St. Vincent now, and the youth crime and all the things that are happening was never there when we were growing up. We were able to leave our houses open. There are people who are coming back, people who have gone there, spent over 20 years, built their nice houses there, and are afraid to stay in their house because they're older now. They're in their 60s and 70s. One lady said to me, she had to now dye her hair black so that she will look younger because they're afraid. And we should never see that in a country like, I call St. Vincent, I don't call St. Vincent an island, I call it a country. Because what's an island? An island is a landmass with water around it. So if England is a country, then St. Vincent is a country. If St. Vincent is an island, then England is an island. You see what I'm saying? So St. Vincent should never be like that with 133 square miles, with just over 100,000 people. You know, we should be each other's keeper.
100%.
You know, and so forth. And all of that was there when we were growing up. Family has been torn apart. These days, people changes. St. Vincent has become like England. England, there used to be a black community in England. There's no black community anymore. There's a community of black people. In St. Vincent, there's a community of Vincentians rather than a Vincentian community because they see themselves as individuals. So we need to get back where we're watching and looking after each other. Very community focused, respect for the elders, because there's an African saying that what an elder can see sitting down, a young person or a child will never see it, even if he climbed the mountain, because of experience. Because of experience. So the children, young people, need to show more respect to their elders in St. Vincent, because I feel it's lack of disrespect that is creating so much crime in St. Vincent, and killing especially.
Wow, Bilal, you've dropped some major keys for us, and I love that in this conversation I've not had to ask you much, because your passion is shining through. It's all front of mind for you, because you're passionate about different elements. Youth, passionate about how to invest in a smart way because of your experiences. You've been running your exchange program for many, many years, so you know what works, what doesn't. So you've given us so many keys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If there was one key for someone who wasn't at the event, or someone who's thinking about investing, who's from St. Vincent or have Vincentian heritage, what's one thing you would leave with them?
Whether or not you're younger or older, you should get involved. Whether or not you're younger or older, you should get involved in either investing or promoting St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because a point was raised early on. I raised a point early on about must, and for me, Mustique, if I travel the end of the world and I speak about St. Vincent, no one knows about St. Vincent. But if I mention Mustique, they know. So there's a vacuum there that needs to be filled. Get involved.
There's a vacuum there to be filled. Thank you so much, Bilal. And it was so good talking to you.
My regards
Take
to your
care.
dad.
Thank you.